Hey there, mamas! You are listening to Release Your Inner Power podcast, where we talk about having both me time and being the best mom, sharing stories, encouragement, and tips for taking the steps to release that inner power and that mom guilt. I'm your host, Tasha B. Here we go. One quick thing before we get started. I will be doing a drawing for a fun gift each month. Here are 3 ways to enter. You can email me to share your juicy takeaways, topic ideas you want to hear, or share a story. Share this podcast on social media and tag me with what episode you listened to and what you learned or loved about it. And if you leave a review, you will get 2 entries into the drawing. I will announce the winner the last week of each month. Okay, let's get started. Guess what? Something new is coming in January and February, and I want to give you guys all the little tidbits on it here. I have something that is coming out. If you are a person that struggles with finishing something or starting a new task but you don't complete it, or you want to start something new, or you want to just get adventurous and go out and try something else, or you are having a little trouble working through some guilt because you don't think that you should be doing those things, I have something for you. I am making small community. I have 2 of them. Small community where women come together to communicate, to connect, to support each other with live coaching from me. It is a monthly membership. I can give you all the details. There is a link in the show notes that goes into description on what this is. And I have 2 of them starting January and February. If you want on the list, send me your email so I can get you on this list. Limited spots available to help you accomplish your new year goals. Hello. Welcome back. I'm super excited about this one today. I love talking about this one. We are talking about partners in dreaming, partners in believing. And I have Tasha here with me today. And we're going to be talking because we have a partners in believing and a partners in dreaming that we have been doing for time always escapes me. Has it been 2 years or has it only been a year? I feel like it's been 2.
I think October is when we kind of dipped our toes in. I think it's been 2 years, and I think December is when we really started utilizing it from my memory.
I think I'm going to go with what you said because I was thinking about that and I'm like, has it been a year or has it been 2 years? Like sometimes you just get in those time warps of things, especially when they're really good. And then you actually shorten the time when then you think about it and you're like, whoa, wait, hold on. That's been actually longer than I thought. Right. So I thought we could share a little bit. I was going to share, I call it, partners in believing, and Tasha calls it partners in dreaming, but it's the same thing. It's just how when we're speaking, it's just how the words come out for us and what it means to us. And I thought we could share what that means to us and then share some circumstances or situations that have come up where this specific partnership has helped us keep going and what it has helped us with. Tasha, do you want to start with your stuff?
Sure. You want me to kind of talk about how it was introduced first, or the premise?
Yeah.
Or kind of together? Okay.
Yeah, I think we should start from the beginning. Yeah.
Let's start from the very beginning. Yeah. Can't not sing that. Okay. So you brought this to me, and I believe this was a practice that you used when you were going through coaching school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You brought it to me because I think you did a session with me, and we've recently just been sharing our life together. And you just asked like, hey, this is something that I'm asking you if you want to be a part of. It's called Partners in Believing. And I think you might have even adopted a different name that was more of your wording.
I did, yes.
And brought it to me. Basically, it's an accountability group. We check in if we're having any sort of struggles. This is a great space to come to be encouraged. This is a great space to talk about your weekly goals, your monthly goals, your year goals, and have it in one container where, and again, these are kind of my words, how I've heard it and how I utilize it. But having a space where you can speak it out loud and be heard, hearing yourself, to not only hold yourself accountable, but to have somebody who hears you can reflect that back to you and keep you accountable as well. Check in on you. How are you doing? Did you accomplish these goals? I remember thinking when you brought it to me, like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a big commitment. I have a lot going on right now, but I also am really intrigued by this. And so I agreed to it. And do you want to talk about more how we started, what it
Sure.
consists of?
Yeah. So with me, I was, I decided that I was going to take this whole new like adventure path in my life that was something I really needed a fire again and something to be passionate about. And this is what felt awesome to me. And I kind of like jumped on this whole new path of unknown. And when you do something like that, when you decide for something that is new or something totally different, or maybe you're doing something that has like completely like out of the box that you've never thought you would even try before, but you're going to try, right? That is like scary. You get that voice that comes in and tries to talk you out of starting or tries to, you know, kind of keep you in the familiar, if you will, because the unknown, it doesn't know what to do with the unknown. So for me, it was like I committed to myself that I wanted to do this. I wanted to, go to school. I wanted to start a business. I wanted to help people. I wanted to be able to be there to be support, encourage and motivate people and help them like level up, if you will. And I knew that the steps that I needed to take to get there, because this was all new. This is all a new venture for me, right? So I knew that I needed to build a foundation for myself in order to be like successful and to keep pushing through and not do this battle by myself, right? Like things can be hard when you do things alone anyway, but if you can make it easier by surrounding yourself with support and asking for it and then actually utilizing it can help you get to where you want to be, not only faster, but in like a better place, because you're not alone. You're not doing it by yourself. You're not, you know what I mean? Like you have like a partnership, you have this camaraderie and this relationship that you build. We're lucky because we're family before. So we had a relationship before, but you can build a relationship with this, and move it forward. And so one of the things that I was taught is like statistically, if you have two people in your life, two, okay, that believe in you, that support you, that are there for you, that are like your cheerleader, like rah, rah, rah in your corner, you have such a higher percentage of being successful at what you're trying to do and be new, like in a new venture or anything, of completing it and sticking through it when it's hard, when it seems impossible, when it seems like it can't happen anymore, is just two. So one of the ways that I chose was, it was like a hard, like I call them downloads. Like when I was like, I want to do this whole like accountability thing of partner and believing, and like you said, I changed the name to what I felt was better, like a partner and believing in me, like each other in the group and helping each other out, right? And it was like, it wasn't just a yes, it was a hell yes. This is what I want to do for me. And then your name was like, with Tasha. Like it was like instantly, wait, like with Tasha, you need to ask Tasha. And there was three different people that I asked to see, because some people are not going to want to do it. And you want to have someone that is going to be, somebody that where it will lift you up. You both will lift each other up, that 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 this is the goal that you both share, because you're both going to show up for each other, right? And so when I asked you, I remember asking you and just being like, oh, please say yes, because I know the potential of what this could become. And so I was like hoping that that you would say yes, and like throwing it out there. And I'm so glad you did, because I think even from the beginning of when we started this, of having the framework of meeting every week and giving like a gratitude proud of, and a what we accomplished, like our wins for the last week, and then coming up with goals of what we're going to do, and then like kind of holding each other accountable for things, right? But also it's like if we run into bumps in the road and things, it's like we work through that together, and it doesn't have to be once a week. Like we check in with each other during the week, but it's on our time. It's not like we make a purpose to meet once a week, like on Fridays. And then we have like follow-up Mondays, right? And then we dip in like, okay, but wait, we need to talk about this on a Tuesday. And if we don't have time to answer, it's like totally fine because we can answer when we can. So I love I love that you said yes. But that's how it started for me. Was in school and building a foundation and knowing that I needed to try it. I had never tried it before, so why not? Why not try something new? Why not try something that is going to, I mean, if I have nothing to lose here and I'm being told, you only need two people, and having an accountability partner, a partner in believing, a partner in dreaming can help you get there, why not just try it? If it goes awesome, great. And if it fizzles out, okay, try again with someone else, whatever. And we've just been fine ever since.
It has been magical. It's been awesome to see it become established and to change kind of not necessarily the framework, but kind of the framework, and then the contents. Like when we first started, you were going through school, so obviously you had like a lot of tasks that needed to be done. So kind of our intro was more of like task related to keep each other on track for certain goals and steps that needed to be met and completed. And then over time, we have allowed this space to change as our lives change, and to increase and receive support in other areas, and it not just be business related, but full life related. And I like that we did not overthink it in the beginning. So if you're considering, which we're definitely going to encourage you and talk about more of how to form your own partners in believing, partners in dreaming group. How we started was just really not overthinking it. It was like, hey, we don't live in the same town, so meeting in person was not a thing. We're like, what days are best for you that we can meet together? We discovered that Marco Polo, which is an app that you can video record, send in real time, but that can be watched on the other person's own time, can be rewatched, can be paused. And it'll keep track of like, this was sent on Thursday at 8:06. So you have context of when the other person was sending you a message. We just decided like, okay, Fridays is a great day for us. We get to listen and respond on our own time, but we're going to commit to checking in on Fridays. And then it was like, oh, you know what? Fridays is a great check-in. Monday is a great check-in. And now I think we do Monday is the beginning of our week. It's like, here are my current thoughts, current events. And these are the things that I hope to accomplish, do, be mindful of this coming week. And then on Friday, we check in again to review our week. Currently, this is how we feel. Currently, this is what we experienced. And even our thoughts on what I'm calling accomplishments, our priorities that we made that week. It's really a space of getting to know ourselves, and then having another person that can hold you up, encourage you, hear you.
What I also love about this is when that you feel seen and heard, and with Marco Polo, you listen to the full thing and then you give your response, right? And then you listen to the whole thing and you give your response. So you're seen and heard, but you can sometimes in its entirety, you can hear when we're talking right in the beginning, and then by the end, you're like, oh, I see, you worked it out just by talking through it, right? Yeah. Like it's almost like you get to see the progression as well with the person that you're with. But like you also, it's like the development of, I'm a talk to thinker, so I can talk it out. So sometimes even in the beginning of a Marco Polo, I can be like having this thing and I'm talking to Tasha and I'm telling her all the stuff and I'm telling her how I feel and what my struggle is or whatever. And then by the end, I'm just like, I guess this was just a space for me to talk it out with you. So thanks for listening. And then you like go from there. Like it has developed into something else. It's the same framework, right? The same check-in and the same framework, but it's developed into something else. Like I call it going to the mind gym, because a lot of times our thoughts and our what I call brain dragon steps in and can talk you into all kinds of crazy things. And sometimes it can be really sneaky. And so to have that partner that has worked with you for so long is a benefit for us also, for being 2 years into this, is that you can tell when I'm spiraling if I can't see it, and you can like hit the pause button for me and be like, so like this is happening, and vice versa. I can I can sometimes tell when I'm like, okay, like, do I, and then we like give permission to each other, like, okay, this is the time that I need to say something. And when I say check someone, I'm not meaning like in a confrontational way. I'm saying like, okay, pause. Okay, Tasha, this is, what about this? And have you thought about this? And like, kind of not necessarily pointing it out, but pointing it out. But we have the relationship where we can say like, hey, you're overthinking it. Like, hold up, you're overthinking it. Just like back up a little bit. And then what about this, suggestion wise, which is what you get after time. So I love that. Like you said, I love that. Just keep it simple in the beginning, build your framework of what you want it to look like. It can be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it can be an hour, kind of whatever you want it to be, making it a day that you both commit to actually showing up for each other, however you want to do that. And then, building it from there. And it's okay to change. It doesn't have to stay like the way that you made it. It can change the way that it needs to be for, whatever that may be. It could end up being tasks, goals, steps, mind stuff, family stuff, whatever, because it's about you together as a group building something that can help you get to wherever you want to be, whether that's just being happy for the day or whether it's just having space to just vent about something because you cannot today with this. Like, it is not the day for that, or whatever that may be, to help boost your day and week, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to share like a situation, maybe like as an example of how it's helped?
Yeah, why don't I talk about how I'm currently using it? Because I feel like I am in a space where I'm really utilizing our partners in dreaming space to support what I am revisioning for my life or making once again important in my life. So, in the past, again, we've been doing this for 2 years. We've developed a relationship. We see each other, and we not only do we have a greater understanding, I believe, at least for myself, of how I operate, and appreciating that and recognizing it as my strengths and my gifts, but I'm also giving you an opportunity to know me, and then support me with who I am. Right. So it's very personal, very individual. Nothing is like, everything is personal. You see that person and you recognize that person, and you help the other person specifically for who they are, who their energy is, if that makes sense. We're not just like, yeah, go get them, go hard all the time.
Right.
When you recognize, oh, wow, she's a mom. She's really been, working hard, pushing here. Does she need to rest? Really giving space to understand the goal, the end goal, and then taking a moment to check in with the current energy to see what's going to benefit her right now in this time period. I kind of went a little bit off, and then I'm going to wrap around back to how I'm using it currently, is reintroducing into my life things that are important to me, routine and ritual, so that I can better take care of myself, so that I can better accomplish my goals and my desires and my vision for our life. So in this season, so a little context, I'm a homeschooling mom. I own my own business. And then I also co-own a business with my husband, and it is our full-time business. School just started a few weeks ago. We are also changing our daily routines and activities and sports and lessons. And that feels like it's introduced all at the same time and fairly overwhelming. I had recently fallen off the wagon, if you want to call it, from taking care of myself in the ways that I know are most beneficial to me to take care of my family and my responsibilities, and then to be able to nurture my dreams. So last year, I would walk every day, twice a day, no matter what we had going on. I would also read a book, read several pages, meditate, just silence time. It doesn't have to be deep into meditating, but it's just like daily silence, taking time for myself. Well, with the start of school and sports and our business rocking awesome, like I haven't walked in the morning. I haven't been taking care of myself in those ways that I know are so important. So first I established what I needed to do, and then I brought it to our group. So I was like, okay, on my walk in the morning with the stroller. I'm doing stroller hands right now. And I'm like, okay, it's day one. I am recommitting to my walk before school. And I speak out loud. This is why it's important to me. This is why I'm recommitting. These are the benefits that I know I am receiving that will compound and build over time, that will help me. So every day, so today was day 15. I'm like, okay, it's day, 2, it's day 10, it's day 15. I'm walking. So it's like a space for me to come to not only say, hey, I'm doing this, but to also say, I'm proud of myself, and a space to keep track of where I'm doing these things that are important to me. Yeah. And to be in a space with you where you're like, hey, I see you. Hey, you're walking. Congratulations. Like, you're very good at saying, great. Is it really day 12 already? Like, how is it already day 12? That's awesome. And I have brought the other things into our Partners in Dreaming group too. Like, I'm on my first walk. It's the morning. I'm drinking my water here. I also implemented this workout, and it's, day 5 of this. We also, a lot of things I could talk about, which I think is probably more prominent for another podcast, but that's how I'm using it right now, is structurally using it as a space for my self-care to enhance reaching my full potential and my goals, while still, saying, this is what our week looks like. This is what I hope to accomplish. Here is where I'm doing this. But first priority right now, because it's like illuminated and highlighted for me, is my self-care routine and ritual. And so I'm using our Marco Polos to really commit to it there.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that also my season is different this time, because before I would have like 5 things that I would say that I was doing. And then I found that sometimes I would get overwhelmed with that, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have all these things that, I need to get done. And I too am in the space of, like you, is like fall for me is also of like a getting back into routine. Cause in like summertime for me is like, how many memories can I make? How many fun things can I do? And I'm like off, like doing all of the things with my kids, by myself, making sure that I divide that up very evenly, because I think that is important for me. Well, it is important for me to take my own time to recharge in order to show up the best for them. And so I try to make sure that I have both of those things, and I'm not always doing, for everyone else, that I have to take the time for myself. But then fall is kind of like the coming down a little bit of that, because there's so much you can do, because we live in the Pacific Northwest. So when it is nice out, it is like all outside, try to explore, do all the things you can, because we don't really know when it's going to start raining. We don't know if it's going to be September, October, or November. So we try to take advantage of it as much as we can. So when fall comes and back to school, it's just like Tasha was saying, back to school, then the activities after school, getting back into routines. Then like, wait, what was I doing before summer? Like I was working out this much, I was doing this, and it's kind of like you have to hit the pause button, check in. What do you need to do to get back in? So I'm also utilizing that. At the same time, I'm taking courses on a couple of things and I need to get that homework done. So I am backing up instead of giving, because I could do 5 things right now, but I'm trying to back up and say what is like the most important thing that I need to get done for the next week for me right now. And I will say that to Tasha. And lately, every once in a while, I'll put in like a self-care thing, like, oh, I need to go work out, or I'm going to go do this hike, or I'm going to take this adventure, or I'm going to, do this. And I feel like there is power, magic, the word is escaping me right now, but like when you speak it out loud to somebody too, it's almost like you're making a promise to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and and then it gives you a little more umph, if you will, because again, words are not here. So umph of like, I told somebody I'm going to do this. I'm making a promise to myself, and I'm telling somebody that I know, love, like, and trust, and they're going to be like, hey, what's up? Did you do the thing?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? Why didn't you do the thing? Like if it's not happening or whatever, to try to help bring them to where they want to be also. Right. So I feel like sometimes there's seasons, like you said, where I want to have like 5, 6 things that I want to accomplish. And I feel like when it's resetting for me in the fall, if I back up and just do 1 or 2, get those done. And if I do more, awesome. But I feel like I've also been utilizing for more self-care, getting back into routine. And then with the addition of, I have to complete this homework to reset, like reset myself up for like the next year, because I feel like for me in this season of fall, reset, because guess what? Here comes holiday stuff. So it's like go back up to crazy for a little bit. And then January hits and you go back down to like reset for the rest, like how you're going to like look at your year. Right. So it's
Mm-hmm.
good to have ups and downs. So you can, if you're on and you want to do the 5, 6 things, great. Set it up. If you are, I'm going to back it up a little bit, I'm going to reset, I'm going to do just 2. Great. You know what's best for you, but that's how we utilize it with our seasons as well. That
Yes,
was
and you
good
you
for
learn
sure.
you learn really well, I don't want to say really quickly, but you learn about yourself. You get to learn about yourself in the space. If you're filling your schedule with things that aren't really important, that don't really move the needle, if you're just like, because I'm a list person and I can just add on a bunch of stuff just for the sense of being accomplished and feeling good. And like, yes, this, like I can be a real doer. In this space though, you really get a reflection point to go, wow, I did or I didn't do all these things. And was it necessary? Did it help me?
Mm-hmm.
What are my intentions? What are my goals? Because you do get to talk and share back and forth, and we can help each other identify when we are kind of like sidestepping our responsibilities and filling in it with other things,
Right.
because we can go, okay, so do you really think that is what's going on? Are we really thinking we need to do that or not? And it's not judgmental, it's just like reflection and um you know like you said, checking each other in a good way. Really
Well,
love catch
sorry.
sorry, what?
So, well, and sometimes like too, even repeating back, like you might say something to me and then me repeating it back to you, you're like, well, now that you said it out loud to me, it's almost like using that other person. If they can repeat it back to you, sometimes that you get the realization from hearing it from someone else,
Right.
because it's like turning in your brain a certain way. And then someone repeats it back to you. And for whatever reason that may be, you're like, oh, ding, the light bulb goes on and you're like, oh, thanks for saying that, and then
Yeah.
you learn just from them repeating it or getting inspiration from hearing, accomplishments or goals or whatever, and be like, oh yes, I can do that. Yes, look at all the things that are happening. It's like the energy comes together and just like makes this whole I don't know if you want to say combustion, but like in a good way of like where you can just, this wave is building and then now you're on this wave together, right?
Yeah.
And it
And
can just carry you.
I like that too. And it's kind of fitting into how to pick a partner, right? Because the things that I notice, obviously, you're a coach. So, and I'm a very independent person. And because of our relationship, you will know when to say something back to me in like a coach like way to help me realize something. And then I am able to utilize and gift you my gifts. Like, if we're talking about messages that come through, and I'm like, hey, permission to share a message with you,
Mm-hmm.
or to recognize when you're starting to spiral. And it's like, hey, I'm hearing you. And I think that we're spiraling right now. Let's just give this a moment. I love that we know our gifts.
Mm-hmm.
We can help each other see our own gifts. And then in this space, we're able to utilize them for like the ultimate benefit, right? We are using our gifts and we are receiving the gifts from another person. So I know quite often I've been like, whoa, I'm having a lot of what you would call downloads, and I would call, messages from spirit, or like oracle messages, or sort of psychic insight. I'm like, hey, I'm getting this, I'm feeling this, and I'm seeing this, and I get to share that with you. And
Mm-hmm.
you know that I have that ability. So being able to choose me as a partner, you're like, I'm going to benefit with that. And then because I know how good you and skills you are at coaching and organizing and like laying things out so it's easily like digestible,
Mm-hmm.
we get to experience and use these gifts in the space. So I would say an important part of picking a partner. Wow, that was alliteration.
You did good. You did good.
Thank you. We're learning that in school, so that was really relevant. Um, so in choosing a partner in dreaming, a partner in believing, recognizing the other person. So these would be like my suggestions. Finding somebody who is positively motivated, who is ambitious and has goals, who is either on your level or above your level, concerning like where I want to go. If I am choosing a partner who doesn't have the big vision that I have, who doesn't want to do better than they're currently doing, and can't hold space for evolution, they're probably not going to be the best partner for partners in believing and dreaming.
Totally agree.
If you are choosing a partner who is in an unhealthy relationship and your goals are to have a healthy relationship, those aren't very compatible. Now, there might be other dynamics and offerings they have, but overall, you want to pick somebody who you could see going, raising their consciousness and expanding their goals and continuing to dream and believing anything is possible, and is also dedicated. I
Yes.
don't suggest like necessarily choosing your best friend or somebody you interact with every single day, because I think in the beginning also we can have these assumptions and we're like, oh no, you're stuck here. It can be good at identifying, but for you and I, we're family. We've done different things together, like write the book, which came from this too, but we didn't interact daily every day. We didn't know every single thing about each other, so it gave us time to build a relationship and have it come organically. And I think also be able to share things and develop a relationship and become more vulnerable and aware of each other, and not so close that we're, afraid to say something to the other, or we don't assume something about the other. Do you agree?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I would like to add to like you said, it doesn't have to be family or friend. It could be, it can be an acquaintance or somebody that that you are talking to, but I think to stress the importance of somebody that's going to build you up, like is going to be a positive influence in your life to be able to do that. And the reason why sometimes, like you said, your best friend or maybe somebody that's in your family that's really close to you is not, and when I mean close to you, it's just like you said, like talking every day, like knows all the ins and outs, knows all the things. um, that person is good for that. Because sometimes when you like, not that I don't love Tasha because I do, but like sometimes when you're that close and every day and you like are close in a different type of relationship, when you need to give them when you need to give them some reflection and some checking in and some, hey, maybe try this or that, it's different. It's received differently.
Mhm.
And so I think it's important to just be aware of that. It has to be somebody that you can do that. Like you can just, like you said, you can be like your biggest cheerleader, rah, 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 the whole time, which is great. And you can be positive the whole time. But there's going to be times where you just hold space because you're going through the shit together or separately, right? There's just some moments. Sometimes we go through the same seasons and it's like things are shitty right now and we need to work through this shit first before we get to whatever. And that might happen, but you have to be able to hold all different types of spaces for what may come and be able to say the things that need to be said in like a empathetic, compassion, loving way. And sometimes it's just to hold space for speaking and not, give the advice. And sometimes when you're like in too deep, I guess, if you will, like if you're already have that relationship with somebody else, that's a different kind of a relationship. So it can
Yeah,
get wrapped up. You don't want to take that relationship and make it something different, if that makes sense.
right.
You want to keep that relationship. So try to go with somebody, somebody that is, like you said, driven as far as vision and goals. Like you want to improve what, in multiple areas of your life. If somebody wants to improve their job, improve their health and wellness, improve, or they want to start something new, like a business or a class, or I want to whittle wood, whatever it is, like if you want to do those things, you want somebody that's like, yeah, I also want to do stuff, not just like, oh, okay, that sounds cool.
Yeah, it'd be
Like,
nice to do. So
yeah,
when this was presented to you to create one of these, you said that you thought of me and you hoped I would do it. So for example, somebody who was like, oh my gosh, Partners in Believing sounds awesome, amazing. How did you go about it? Why did you think of me? Or did you sit down and think of a list? Or did it just come to your mind?
that's a really good question. Thank you for asking that. I when I first got it, I had to think about it first because I wasn't even sure I wanted to do it. And then I finally was like, yes, I want to do it. And so I was like, this is what I want to do. And I just like I went on a walk. I went on a walk. I remember I was holding my phone. I went on a walk and I'm like, okay, when I start this Partners in Believing, who are my top 5 people that I can think of right now that, have goals, want to make moves, want to improve themselves, want to live their best lives, want to, that is a good cheerleader, that is a positive person. Like, who are the 5 people? And I just kind of sat with it for a little bit as I was walking, and some names came through. Yours was first, but some names came through, and I'm like, okay. And I put them in the notes of my phone. And then I went through my phone list, like my actual contacts list of people in my life that I actually talk to. And I'm like, okay, who, I looked at it and I'm like, who from this list? And I put it on a separate list under the top list that came to me first on a separate list. And then I was like, who online, like, is there people online that I am always going to? Like, is there other podcast people that I'm always going to? Like, what's their vibe? What attracts me to them? Like, what, kind of almost like, what do I want to get from this group? And then, is there somebody online that I actually talk to that maybe I haven't met in person, or maybe we're taking the same class together, or we're in, like how we were in that authors group together? Is there, like something like that? Like, is there somebody in this authors group that has the same vibe and energy that I can, reach out to, and maybe we can build something like this? And I made this whole list, and then names that were overlapping and said in multiple lists, I was like, these are obviously the people I need to reach out to. And I picked my top 5 and I messaged all of them and was like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. What are your thoughts? And depending on how they responded to was how I was like, yes or no. I was like, okay, well, I need like one of my friends, because I did the test. One of my best friends, I reached out to her and I was like, hey, this is the thing that I want to do. Do you want to do that? And by her response, I was like, this is what I now need you to do. I changed it and I was like, if you are like my phone a friend, if I decide to throw in the towel and I want to be done, I need you to tell me that I can't throw in the towel. I need you to tell me, stop. No, you're not throwing in the towel. We can talk out that situation. And so she's my phone a friend, like last resort, if I need her to be. And she was like, yes. And I'm like, thank you. So then it was like, I'm still utilizing her as like my phone a friend. Like I need help if I'm ready to throw in the towel, which I have not had to do that. I have not had to utilize her situation. And then when I asked you and you said yes, here we are. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, you really want to know what you want out of the group. And then I just started going through what I have. You go with what you have. The names that came to you right away, I put them down. The names that were on my phone and that I thought were, all the things that I wanted, wrote them down. And then overlapping names, I'm like, these are obviously my top 5, or just how you feel about it. Like there was a girl on there that I reached out to because I was like, man, like her vibe and the way she is like totally awesome. I'm going to reach out to her and see, if she wants to do it. And and when she did get back to me and we ended up doing something completely different, which is funny. So now when you end up reaching out to these people, now you end up having more people, right? You end up having more people that you can utilize in this group, but it might not necessarily mean like a partner and dreaming, a partner and believing. Now, if you want to have a group of 5 people, you totally can. I just chose to share it with you. I just chose to share it with Tasha, and just have one-on-one. But if you choose to do that, you can have more than one person that come together if you guys are all working towards, it doesn't have to be the same thing. You guys don't all have to be doing like, health and wellness. You can be doing different things. It's about the vibe and the energy and positive, cheerleading and encouragement, but also being able to hold space when things aren't going that way to really figure out what's going on. If the person needs to work through it and hold that space and then help them so they're not stuck. You don't want them to get stuck. I went off a little bit, but that's how I chose my people.
I love it.
Yeah. I think we kind of use some examples, not like specific examples, but I think we kind of use some examples on how we utilize this the best for us.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else that you would like to add to this? I think we did pretty good, but just in case there's anything else you might want to add.
No, I feel it's good. I mean, they can always reach out to either one of us and ask more, questions,
Yes.
want more
Absolutely.
specific details. There's so much. Again, we're holding 2 years of doing this, so there's a lot of information we could share.
Yeah. Well, I do want to add one last thing before we go, that you, Tasha, know about, that I have been working with for a little bit and thinking about. And it's kind of inspired. It's inspired by this. It's inspired by another class that I took where we go into accountability pods. And it's something that I believe, as humans and moms and women need in order just to complete tasks, in order to get through the hard stuff, in order to, I want to change this routine and I try for like a week and it doesn't, and then it doesn't happen. And then, but like kind of going to the gym. Did you ever go to the gym when you were younger and you're like, oh, if I have a gym partner, you like totally go more often because you're like going together and you're like sharing this time and all that. So I have now been in the process. I'm in the planning process of making an accountability group. And I'm still coming up with the name of this accountability group, where I want to have this service to make this, like make partners in believing or partners in dreaming, and have small groups of 5 to 7 women that come together, and you have that come together and we share all of these things and we meet. For this particular group, we meet live and we meet live once or twice a month, and then we do check-ins for the rest of it. But I want to build a space for if people are like, because there may be some people out there that are like, I don't know who to, I'm finding trouble finding a person, right? I'm finding trouble finding this person and I want to do this, but I'm having trouble finding a person or people that, maybe that they even feel comfortable with. And sometimes having someone else that doesn't know all the things could be easier to share some of the things to work through, right? So I'm creating this container that I will be releasing. I'm working out all the things, but I will be releasing in January and February of an accountability group pod, if you will, Partners in Believing, Partners in Dreaming of groups. There's going to be 2 of them, 2 different groups, and I'm going to be releasing one in January and one in February. And so if this sounds like something that you are interested in or inspired, want more information, just questions, all of that, please send me an email and I will get you more information and we can possibly get you on a list for one of those groups that will begin next year. Thank you for talking about this today, Tasha, and sharing our wonderful partner in believing, partner in dreaming partnership that we have. I can't believe it's been 2 years, but that's been so amazing. That's probably why. So thank you so much for chatting about it and sharing with everybody today. I just want to say thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, learned something new, or got a juicy takeaway that will bring in that heck yeah back into your life. I release a new episode each week, so make sure to subscribe. If you love the show, want to share a story, comment below. If you know someone that would love or need this episode, be sure to share it with them. I'm sure they would love you for it. Tag me and find me on social media at Ignited Decisions on Instagram and Shauna with Ignited Decisions on Facebook. I would love to know what episode you listened to and how it helped you, as well as connect on social. Okay, mamas, claim your time and release your inner power.